hello everyone. Today we're going to explore chapter 3.2 of the roles of citizen in society. This is part of the first issue, exploring citizenship and governance. So I hope you have watched the previous video on the role of government in society. Now we're moving on to roles of citizens. They are absolutely important in the society and we cannot ignore the role that they have played. So let's take a look. Under chapter 3, how can we work for the good of society is divided in two parts. It is divided into the role of government and the role of citizens. So we are going to tackle the role of citizens in today's video. So in the last video, you would have known what is the role of a government. There are namely four, which I hope you know. So we are moving on to, do you think that citizens should play a role in society, or we should leave all the responsibility to the government? And why? So there is a question that is worth pondering that we will explore in this video. As you know, the government and the citizens making decisions is actually very challenging. So what the society deem as necessary or will think is necessary actually differs across the different age group. We have from the baby, we have the teenagers, and last but not least we have the adult. Don't they look the same? And the stage of life that actually people are in, like for example, if you're a young parent, what would you like the government, or what are your needs? Citizens, we ask, what can citizens do to contribute towards the good of society? Citizens can help one another, but what can they do? So let's take a look. Role of citizens in the society. So we actually vote for the representative in government. We communicate their views on national issues, such as an individual or as an organized group. So there are two ways you can do so. One is an individual, the other one is an organized groups. After you participate in the society, what is the outcome? You wish to influence government policies. It's not just leaving it to government, but you give them feedback about their policies, whether it's successful or how can it be better. And you improve the outcomes in society by addressing the needs of their fellow citizens because the government may not know it. And respond to issues and challenges that they care about. So they do not have to rely just on the government to solve it. They can actually respond to issues that is near to their heart. So in the internal part, they are more conscious that they actually complement government action and not just rely on the government itself. And they strengthen their sense of belonging by actually playing a part in the society. They feel that they belong to the society and help develop a country as well. Let's take a look. So as you take a look at a chapter, when the citizens participate, the outcome will be they will contribute to the needs of society, they will influence government decision, and last but not least, they will strengthen citizens' sense of belonging. There are three parts. We'll take a look at the first part right now. So as an individual, what can you do? So they are actually important because they actually contribute to the needs of society, and by volunteering their time, their effort, and last but not least, their money towards meaningful social causes. So you can either contribute through one or more of these ways. So they feel that their action will be helpful and they feel very strongly for the cause they are contributing to. And their action can actually benefit many people and animals directly and actually inspire others to make similar improvement as well. So you do not have to wait for the government, you can inspire others too. Let's take a look. This is called A Little at a Time. So A Little at a Time is a Facebook page. It started from there. It's actually started by Miss Elsa Ng in 2013. Encourage citizens to go an extra mile. They pick up a little a day. So that's why it's called A Little at a Time. We pick up little one at a time. So every Singaporean actually can contribute to a better living environment in Singapore and the world that we live in. And when we talk about civil society, there's actually a meaning that we're looking at. So it refers to the arts or organizations working for the interests of citizens but operating outside the governmental and the business sectors. That is referring to civil society. Let's take a look. So we are actually talking about organized groups. We are not talking about mafias per se or organized crimes here. So we are talking about another kind. So citizens, they actually have common interests. They are positive interests. Please take note. Organize themselves into groups to contribute towards the needs of the society. So This organized group actually have a very significant effect as compared to an individual, because when they gather, they have actually more resources at their hand, and they can direct their collective effort, ideas, and resources towards their causes. Please take note. So this is directed to the area of this that they feel very passionate about. So there are two kinds of groups. So there are the formal groups. They actually devote continued efforts to support a specific case. They are formal and registered under the government. They actually believe in the sustainable benefit to society, and they provide a sustainable effort towards their causes. And there are also the informal groups with specific short-term objectives, and after that they will most probably disband, or they will form another group at another point of time. So they will help to improve a specific situation that the society may encounter. So during the pandemic coronavirus, there are actually many people who provide masks. They gather the efforts of the countrymen, and they give this mask to those who need it, especially those vulnerable segment of the society. That will be an informal group. So let's take a look at formal groups, such as SPCA. We take a look at this picture. It's talking about a dog being a guide dog, and they help to guide people, and they actually advise people to adopt a dog instead of buying a new one. So these characteristics of formal groups, they have clear objectives, what they wish to achieve. They are formally registered with the government, and they address a wide range of interests such as protecting the environment. Under formal groups, they have two kinds. They are the NGOs and the VWOs. NGOs stand for non-governmental organization. VWOs stand for voluntary welfare organization, and it's formed with people with a common interest. So NGO, so it's neither part of government nor is a convention for-profit business. They are not set up for profit, but they are set up to help, and they are usually funded by government, foundations, businesses, or actually private individuals. As for VWO, for the voluntary aspect, is also a non-profit organization. They provide welfare services or services that actually benefit the community at large. The roles is to cater to needs of specific groups, and they complement the role of government. So you do not have to rely totally on the government. They have these groups to take care of these needs for the good of society. An example, RDA. RDA stands for Riding for the Disabled Association of Singapore. So what they do is that they provide equine-assisted therapy to children and adults with physical and mental disabilities. Equine refers to horses. They actually allow children or adults with disabilities to ride and take care of horses, and through the interaction become better and more socially integrated into the society. They are the only organization in Singapore that provides the therapy, and the sessions are actually given free of charge. And RDA Singapore was founded in 1982 with just 5 riders and a whole lot of HEART. So since then, more than 6,000 disabled children and adults have experienced the benefits of therapy that the horses and ponies so lovingly provide. So it is through all this interaction with the horses they actually improve, and this is an example of a formal group. Talking about informal group now, which is usually on a voluntary basis. It's organized with a specific short-term objective to attend to issues that arise suddenly. All these issues are issues that does not recur and usually is based on a sudden phenomenon. So they are actually temporary form and might not be registered, and might be registered but they'll be deregistered after that. And they complement the support structure provided the government at that point of time. Their job is to provide and support the whatever structure that the government has provided. So an example is called SG Haze Rescue. Is directly related to the issue of haze. So Singaporeans headed by Mr. Jeremy Chua actually joins hands to help people who weather the haze, because they need the mask and not everyone can afford one. So SG Haze Rescue is an effort by an individual, which is mentioned earlier, Mr. Jeremy Chua, in 2013 to complement government's effort. Because there are individuals who may not have such access to masks, and they might be left out, or they might receive their masks much later, and the haze might reach them and cause irreversible harm. So this group actually distributed masks to senior citizens and less privileged individuals across Singapore. And this approach of charity and goodwill arose from spontaneous people-powered initiatives. So there are actually individuals who may not be able to contribute their effort. They donated to these non-formal groups. So as a people, we are unfazed by the haze, reminding us of the importance of taking ownership of our own community. If not us, then who? He actually contributed in a constructive and responsible way by identifying the country's efforts to manage the haze situation. So in that aspect, he provides the support to fill in the gaps that may arise when government measures actually implement. Because when you're implementing for the entire nation, there may be gaps that you may not be able to foresee, and these small groups will be able to help. So in doing so, he contributes towards the efforts that ensure that Singaporeans remain healthy during this haze period. The next part, influence government decisions. Singaporeans actually give feedback and suggestion, and this will influence the decision made by the government and the plans that is for Singapore. So our Singapore conversation started in 2012 by Prime Minister Lee Hsien Loong then. So he actually introduced this, and I wanted to have a conversation with Singaporeans. We are talking about individual roles, and we are talking about nationwide conversation where citizens can come forth and share their views and ideas about what matters to Singapore, what matters to them, and what are their hopes, what are their dreams, and what they wish for Singapore in the years to come. When we start conversations, the idea is among citizens and between citizens and the government. It's not just between the citizens and the government, it's among themselves as well. Our Singapore conversation was also conducted through social media channels, where some Singaporeans participate through the Facebook pages. They will give their feedback through this area as well. So, and not just that, we have offline conversations as well, where they go down right to the community heartlands, where they speak with the members of our society and have a conversation. It's called our SG conversation. There's actually a loop here going on. Government has aspirations for Singaporeans, and Singaporeans in turn give feedback to government to change and alter the plans so that it can better cater to Singaporeans. And in this way, after we have this conversation, there are a few number of hopes that actually arise from here. You can take a look from the picture. They are the common hopes and desires of Singaporeans. They actually collated and reflect upon them, and these are the wishes for our Singaporean moving forward into the future. And Singaporeans have a lot of aspirations. We're talking about opportunities. Singaporeans likes opportunities. They want good job in a resilient economy and be able to bounce back if there's a recession. They want different ways to fulfill their potential, not just maybe in terms of certain job aspect, maybe more towards the creative area. Respect for all regardless of jobs. Even if there's a job such as a cleaner, they will have respect as well, especially blue-collar workers. Next one, purpose. Having a purpose in their life. Broader definitions of success, what it means to be successful. They have a shared identity, I'm a Singaporean, and they embrace the diversity within Singapore society, and the passion to contribute back to the society. Assurance. They wish to have affordable and accessible basic needs, so that people who need will be able to get their needs. They have a collective responsibility towards making their nation part of them, and early investment for life uncertainty such as accidents, so that when you invest early, there is a chance that even with life uncertainty, you'll be able to achieve what you want. That is the reason why you buy insurance. Spirit. Strong family and communities values. They want the family values to be very strong, and to care for the disadvantaged, take care of the vulnerable segment of our population, and respect for every Singaporean. Make sure that dignity is respected. Last but not least, we have trust. To construct and provide meaningful citizen engagement. To have trust and accountability, where every citizen can be trusted and accountable for their actions. And there's mutual understanding between Singaporeans of what it is to be a Singaporean and what it is to contribute to the society. So, organized group role. The efforts of NGO and also help to refine government policies and point to areas which require more attention, because there is a feedback loop where government policies, once it's implemented, they will look at areas where it needs to be improved. For example, in 2011, two NGOs, the Humanitarian Organization for Migration Economics Home and the Transient Workers Council, TWC2, put forth the recommendation on improving working conditions for foreign domestic workers in Singapore. They actually recommended that foreign domestic workers be given a day off a week in recognition for the work they do, otherwise they'll be working non-stop. So this is actually put forth and recognized and later implemented as part of their working conditions. And not just that, we have the Singapore Environment Council. They conducted an vision dialogue to understand Singapore's values and vision for the environment. So we don't just care for the economic aspect, we also care for other areas of our life. And they really want Singapore to be a clean and green and a safe environment. And we should not take that for granted. Next one, the case study of MINDS, Movement for the Intellectually Disabled of Singapore. It is a voluntary welfare organization, a VWO, which contributes back to society. They have a certain target group in mind. They actually focus on persons with intellectual disability. And these children with intellectual disabilities, they ensure that they have equal education opportunities so that next time they will be able to contribute and be responsible citizens in Singapore and not just leave them be by themselves. Because next time, if they do not receive such education opportunities, they may not be able to contribute back to society, even if they want to. This is an important aspect that not many will take note. So you run special education schools. They have employment development centers to make sure they can be employed later. They train them and develop them during these centers. A multi-service residential home, they need a home as well to make sure that they have such places to live. And a social integration program for clients so that they'll be able to integrate into society because certain social skills they may not be able to understand. And home-based care services where they'll be able to live and co-rent a flat so that they will be able to live within the society. Next one, we have another case study. It's called Return My CPF Rally. So what it does is that there was a rally in Singapore. It's a form of feedback. They actually highlight the needs related to financial security. And while some agree that the organizer that more can be done to actually support citizens after retirement. We have people giving a speech in Hong Lim Square, so that will be one of the speakers. While others actually felt that the government is ensuring that citizens will have continued finance after retirement, while others feel that when they highlight the issue, it's not really in a constructive way. This is one of the posters that was there. So they raised a number of issues. You can take a look over here. They are demanding for the CPF payout to be increased. Last but not least, we are talking about strengthening citizen sense of belonging. This is very important so that you feel that you're part of Singapore. In order to make them feel part of Singapore, it is important to involve citizens in sharing and discussion of views. It's not just government decides everything. So citizens have to play their part as well, and they can share and discuss their views regarding the future of Singapore. So it's not just that there's a war between citizens and government political leaders, which in some countries that is the case. But instead, there should be an ongoing feedback. So they can give feedback through Instagram, Facebook, and clarify and provide feedback on national issues and policies. If they do not like the policies, I think that it is their right to share their view in a constructive manner to the leaders. So let's take a look at a case study. It's called REACH, Reaching Everyone for Active Citizenry at Home. REACH. So Singapore can actually engage with the government and provide their feedback through channels such as REACH. So this is the website for REACH. You can take a look and see how you can actually help to give your feedback. There's actually a start a new discussion thread. This really tells you that how much you need your feedback, and some of them may feel that even if I give their feedback, it may not really work, but giving a feedback may actually be taken up if it is presented in a constructive manner and it really helps Singapore. So this is something to consider. By not even trying at all, there is no chance your feedback will reach the government. So this Facebook page is another way that you can actually give feedback to the government. They provide information, then from there you provide your feedback. So let's take a look at Scape with a start. In 2007, the government actually wanted to create a space for youth. It's not just Singapore for business and all. They want a place for youth. They want them to be able to create, explore, showcase their creative talents. They consulted a wide range of interest groups, and this is the result. This building is the result. So what it does is that it is situated right in the heart of Orchard Road for recreational, social and community activities for youth. They can go there to engage in such activities. And 2,200 is the number of feedback they actually receive, they receive actually more than that, and with that, they use this to construct. So they were actually submitted through a number of ways. They're submitted through videos, impressions, and models, and actually you were involved. It's not just they give the feedback, the government decide, and they create the plays. No, you were actually involved in the planning and development of the space throughout the project. So they have an active stake in this place. It shows that the youth actually plays an active role. They're actually changing the landscape of Singapore in Orchard Road. Nowadays, it's not a top-down kind of communication, so it is really related to the idea of political leaders. They are setting out their own communication platform in social media, in Facebook, in Instagram, to actually stay in touch and connect with Season, and in turn, people can actually post and give feedback to these leaders directly. So instead of going through many channels of the government to reach the leaders, nowadays, it is straight to the minister himself. Season actually can provide issues such as a society issue through the feedback pages in social media platforms and websites. For in this case, during the haze season, the school will be reopened and they'll take mitigation measures. A lot of parents are very concerned about their children. So in that case, they actually provide a lot of feedback through there. And this is done in a constructive way. People actually comment on each other. They actually provide the relevant authorities ideas and perspective for better understanding of policies. Maybe they didn't reconsider this segment, so now that their opinions are voiced out, they will start to consider this segment. So this will help to inform future planning and decision making. And what they provide is important when done in a constructive manner. So there are actually different perspectives how far the feedback shapes decision making and policy formulation, because some people feel that the feedback is not taken seriously, but some people actually feel that their feedback is taken seriously. So based on the number of feedback, there's actually a wide spectrum of them. And this could affect their sense of belonging. So if a person feels that the feedback, whatever they give, it doesn't really matter, they will feel that they don't belong to Singapore. But if they feel that their opinions are taken seriously and whatever they say holds weight, they will feel a sense of belonging to Singapore because the government listens to them. They will share and discuss their views with the government in a responsible and constructive manner. This is very important because when done in a civil manner, this will be able to bring the discussion forward and help the society. And please ensure that we reconsider what you say and make sure that it's relevant so that we can make feasible changes. And the benefit is that the society will be able to move forward from this collective view and efforts of Seasons. And that will be the end of chapter 3. Thank you so much, and I hope that you have a very good evening. Thank you, and bye-bye.